plotting his house visits here.
I am. I'm hilarious. I should ask my viewers if you should apply. What's up? Welcome back to our weekly live event. I'm Pascal, for those of you who don't know. Why can I not speak properly right now? I don't know. Anyway, my name is Pascal. It's great to see everybody again. This is our weekly live event. You can ask any financial question you want about real estate investing, taxes, insurance, mortgages, strategy. I'm here to help. Merry Christmas, Celia. Hello. Good to see everybody. Jonathan, what's up? Prince, what's going on? Reese, what's up? It's good to see everybody again. I hope everyone's getting ready for New Year's. It's exciting. Hey, what's up, everybody? All right. Jonathan says, what's the next step once I purchase my first home? No money in the bank since I put down payment for my first home. I mean, it's pretty easy. Get a home equity line of credit. Get that equity back out. That's a great option. Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing, Ivan? Arish says, Pascal, my question is, how do I find Burr deals? Now, finding a Burr deal is constantly looking. It's almost like when you're doing a wholesale deal. You're talking to 1,000 people, and out of 1,000 people, you're gonna get one deal. It's really no different with a Burr. You're gonna have to look at many, many deals to find one because they're awesome when you find it. But again, they are rare. So when people ask me, Pascal, how often do you buy deals? I normally only buy a property, a complex, once every 6 months. I mean, that's right. Once every 6 months, and sometimes even 1 year is how long it takes me to find a good deal. Now, again, the last property I bought was 16 units. So that was awesome that I was able to get something like that. Sometimes it's only a duplex. So the good deals are rare, but you have to be prepared and know what a good deal looks like. Because the second it comes up, it's gone within a few hours. I mean, there was another 14 unit that just came up. It was gone within less than 2 days, and it sucked because I sent them a message that the second day at night, and they basically already had it under contract a couple of hours earlier. So I sucked. 14 units, $1.3 million, and it was in a good area, and it was exactly my style. So it stinks. Ev, what's up? What's going on, Louis? Harry, what's going on? What's up, Moy? Do you think Bitcoin will ever fall back to normal? Well, there is normal with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not normal. So there isn't really a normal. So normal is defined on a person's perspective. I think blockchain, I know there's a future for blockchain. Which blockchain and what coin is going to win? I don't know that. But there is a future in blockchain. So peer-to-peer is the future. Decentralized is the future. Small companies with 10 people can take on giants now. With the technology that we have, just think about it. I'm a guy with a cell phone, and I'm talking to, on average, I say 3,000 to 4,000 people see my stories a day. 3,000 to 4,000 see my stories a day. I mean, I have 200,000 followers. I touch as many people as the biggest companies out there. And I don't spend as much money as they do. So these big companies, if they don't have their systems set up right, they're not going to survive. And what I'm trying to say is being decentralized, being small, and all of us small players coming together and working together are going to be able to take on giants. And that's really what it's about when you're going to the decentralized system, when you're going to the blockchain technology. Now, again, it's like the internet. You don't know. People thought Yahoo was going to be Google. As you know, Google won. People thought AOL was going to be the email of choice. Obviously, almost no one has AOL email anymore. So you got to understand, like, there is a future. Who's going to win is what we're going to find out. So as always, invest what you're willing to risk and also spread it along. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So have a little bit of different types of crypto. And again, only invest what you're willing to risk. Because remember, investing is risky. All right. Everyone, thanks for all the loves, the thumbs up, the hearts on YouTube and IG. I appreciate it. Let me jump into the questions. I'm going to spend half an hour with you guys and, call it a night and relax. I've been tired, been training a lot, been working on the projects. So just trying to enjoy this time. Sean says, how do you write off higher depreciation rates on single family home rentals than the standard 127? So Sean, great question. Now, let me break down what Sean's saying. Sean's saying, how do you depreciate more than the standard 27.5-year depreciation rate on a single family rental? And commercial rentals are over a 40-year period. So what does that mean? That means if you owned a $275,000 property, you can depreciate that over 27.5 years, which roughly equates to about, I think, $10,000 a year in depreciation. How do you depreciate more than that? What you do is, one, when you're doing value add deals, anything you're doing, when you're adding value to the property, the upgrades you're doing, some of the upgrades you can actually do a section 179 depreciation. So when you're doing that, you can write off the full expense of, let's just say, the AC unit. Because if you are in the business and you own multiple rental properties, you don't have to depreciate an AC unit over, say the 15-year useful life. You can actually depreciate it all in one shot. So that is one of the ways you can do it. But a more advanced way of doing it is doing a cost segregation model by an engineer, and then using that cost segregation model on your taxes to depreciate different items on your tax return. Let me break that down some more. When you do a cost segregation model, you don't depreciate your building over 27.5 years. You depreciate some sections over 27.5 years. But say your roof only has a 15-year useful life. You can now depreciate it over 15 years. Your electrical system, say it's 15 years. Your tile is only, say, or flooring or carpeting is only 10 or 7 years. Your plumbing is a certain amount of time. Your paint is a certain amount of time. Your trees, your fencing, all of that comes into account when you're doing a cost segregation model, and that you don't determine that. The accountant doesn't determine that. The professional engineer will write a report up and then provide it to you, and then the accountants will take that information, like we would get those forms, those reports back from the engineer, and then our accounting firm will actually put it in for our clients and be able to depreciate it more aggressively to have a faster depreciation rate. Now, all of that is great. Here is the issue. As you know, I do not like investing in single family homes. I do not suggest it. The return on investment is almost never there. It's very rare for you to get a good return on investment. I suggest multi-units. Another reason that is important to know is when you're doing a cost segregation model, normally there isn't a return on investment for doing that until you have at least a $500,000 property or a package of properties that you're going to have the engineer work on at one time that will total normally over $500,000, because the cost segregation model that the engineer is going to do costs money. So since it costs you money, you have to get a good return on investment. You have to have enough deductions on your taxes for it to help. So, Sean, it's a great idea, great concept, great strategy, but you have to step up to the bigger leagues. You got to get out of single family homes. I mean, I never even got into it. I always did multi-units right away, and then got bigger and bigger. You're going to make more money in multi-units. On average, you make more money on multi-units, okay? There is rare scenarios, like I don't agree in owning condos. You almost never make money on renting out condos. But there's like that rare 1% chance that people actually do make money on condos. But 99% of the time, I run the numbers for people. I say, see, you're not making any money. You're roughly making 3% return on your investment. All right, how do you define a good deal price-wise? There is no such thing as a price-wise on a good deal. There is no such thing as price. I mean, many people think a $100,000 property is a good deal. That's wrong. Most properties that are $100,000 are bad deals. Don't think low price is a good deal. It is value. You have to understand value. If I said, $30,000 for a car, is that a good deal? Some people will say yes, some people will say no. But what does it matter? $30,000 for a $80,000 Lexus is a good deal. $30,000 for a Hyundai isn't a good deal, right? It's relative. You have to know what it's worth. So when we're talking about good deals, you're buying the property for 70% of ARV if it's in decent condition. From that amount of money, you're subtracting off the cost to bring it to market. So if a property is worth $100,000, you're buying it for $70,000. If the property needs $15,000 worth of work to bring it to market, you're buying it for $55,000. Now you might say, Pascal, where are you going to find a property that deep discount? I'm going to tell you, I buy properties like that. Many of my followers buy properties like that, but they're constantly looking. They're educating themselves. They're studying their market. So when it comes up, they're buying it within hours so they can get the deal. Because if you're not buying it that fast, you're losing the deal. Someone else is buying it. And then you're in the, I wish, I coulda, I shoulda. It's too late. Now, again, I will tell you this. I've been there before. I've been in the I coulda, I shoulda, I wish I did. Learn from those mistakes. That feeling where you're so upset with yourself. Learn from that. And then use that energy to study harder so you are so confident in your market that you pull the trigger right away. Hey, what's up, Ricardo? George, what's going on? George on YouTube says, how much does cost segregation for you on average? So normally they start out around $5,000. Well, I mean, $3,000 to $5,000, but let's just say $5,000, and then it can go up from there on how large the project is. Okay, FaZe says, do you have a course? Yes, I do have a course. The link is in the bio. We're having a New Year's special on the course. So for the next week, we are going to have a discount on the course. Normally it's $9.95, and I think the course is on sale for like $3.97. So get it while the sale's on. All right. Mastro says, how about flipping single-family homes? ROI in multi-units to hold for cash flow. Thoughts? So Mastro, that's exactly what I do. If I find a single-family home that has profitability, right, that is worth flipping, I will buy it, fix it up, and I'll flip it. Use that cash as a way to generate money to put a down payment on a multi-unit. Then I'll also upgrade that multi-unit and then try to do a cash out refinance on that property so I can have the least amount of money into that deal. So that is one of the strategies that I use. In addition, I have a mortgage company. And if you guys are interested in becoming mortgage brokers, send me a DM. We are looking to expand and add more people to the team. We also own an insurance agency. So we do home insurance, auto insurance, general liability in Florida. So you need a landlord policy for your rental property, we can help you. We also do mortgages across the country, and we also do taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll across the country for high net worth individuals, real estate investors, and standard individuals as well. So we're a one-stop shop. There's many, many different ways you can make money. Find what you enjoy doing. Don't think you have to do it one way or another. What's important is you are saving your money and using that money to invest, and then you can spend your dividends off of your investments, your rental income from your investments, but don't use your principal, because if you do that, you'll work the rest of your life. George on YouTube says, Manny Kashabin was saying that he has a management company for his properties that he owns, and he collects money from the properties. Why does it make sense to do such a thing when you can depreciate? But George, I don't understand why that's, I mean, I have a management company that I own that manages all of my rental properties. And I collect rent from my rental properties. That doesn't mean I can't depreciate it as well. Just because I'm collecting rent doesn't mean you don't depreciate it. You actually want to collect rent, which is taxable event, right? Because you're making money. Then you depreciate your building, which then is a paper loss. So if you do it right, your depreciation is higher than the amount of rent you collect. So even though you're making money that you can spend, on paper, you have a loss that writes off your income. And if you're a high net worth individual, you're actually writing off your income from your W-2 if you do it properly, right? It requires you doing proper accounting, proper taxes. But again, you can make, say, $200,000 a year, and then by investing in, say, in the right property or investing with the right group, you can have a $50,000 loss on paper for that property, which would lower your taxable W-2 income and have actually a refund. So George also says, and pay very little money on taxes. So he probably does pay very little money on taxes because, again, depreciates the asset against his earnings. So Hugo says, what banks do you use to get multifamily loans? Hugo, I'm a lender. I provide the loans to myself. I can also provide you guys the loans too. We do 1 to 4 family homes, purchases, and refinances. And right now, rates are amazing. I had someone that had a 6.5% rate on investment property, got them down to, I think, a 2.99% interest rate. The APR, I think, was probably around like 3.22, which is amazing. I mean, that's a great deal. I'm saying 3.5% a year. It's awesome. Alex on YouTube says, how do you start creating different incomes? So how do you start creating different incomes is find out what you like doing and do it. I used to love Pokemon cards. So I used to collect Pokemon cards, and once I would trade up to a very valuable one, I would sell them. And I would make money that way. I mean, I remember selling a Blastoise for like $80 or a Charizard for $80, which now is worth like $20,000, right? I wish I kept it. But, that's find out what you like and then do that. All right. I just bought, Dwell says, I just bought at auction for 173, 80K budget, hoping to get 400 in this area. Bad numbers. This is the 4th I've done this year. Honestly, I don't understand because the numbers are not making sense. Is this course applicable in the UK? Yes, it is. I actually have a friend in the UK, and he actually buys hotels. And he buys them on the water, and he does very well for himself. He does exactly what I do in Florida, in the UK. The concept is the same. If I told you how to buy used cars, fix up a used car, and resell it for more money, could you not use that information in any country in the world? That information of buying a car undervalued, fixing it up, cleaning up, and reselling it works in every country. The question is, what is that car worth in your country compared to my country? Values are different. But let me tell you this. What is it worth in Florida and what is it worth in Texas and what is it worth in New York is also different. So you need to study your market. That's why it's important to study your market, because once you know your market, know what something is worth, you know, are you underpaying? Are you overpaying? Because you make your money in the buy. So you have to underpay if you want to make money. You can't be going out there and just buying whatever's available. If you saw a property for sale and it's been on for sale for like 90 days and no one bought it, then it's overpriced. So you have to be educated to understand what is a good value. And you can't become educated without putting a lot of practice and running a lot of deals on paper. Chino, what's up? Provide you a loan? Can I get a loan? Yeah, you can get a loan. Apply. Why not? Are you a millionaire? Yes, I am a millionaire. It's very easy to become a millionaire now. It's nothing special, okay? It's really nothing special to be a millionaire nowadays. Like today, if today you need to be worth 10 million to be what a millionaire was 20 years ago. Like really, like you really need to be worth $10 million to be what a millionaire was like 20 years ago. I mean, a brand new Ferrari 20 years ago was like $80,000. A brand new Ferrari today is like $380,000. You know, it's different. Margarita says, how long do I have to wait until I buy my next investment property? So Margarita has been following me for a really long time. And after like a month of following me, she ended up buying her first duplex in Miami. Now, to answer you, Marguerite, it's roughly 6 months. After about 6 months, you can go and probably buy another property. So what I did is I bought my first rental property, and it was a duplex, but it was small units. And then after fixing up both sides and renting out one, living in one, renting out the other, getting the other one, flip-flopping, all right, they're already rented. They're fully occupied. They're fully remodeled. I want to live in a bigger place now. So I went and got a loan to buy another duplex and do the same thing. Now the bank's like, well, these duplexes are too close to each other. Why would you want to move out of that one and move into another one? Well, the reasoning is those are small units and I want a bigger unit. Okay, that makes sense. Moved into that one, fixed up one side, fixed up the other side, and I think like a year later, I ended up buying another one. So that's how you do it. Can you explain different ways to depreciate a property? So you can just do standard depreciation, right? 27.5 years on a 1 to 4 family property. 4-year depreciation on a commercial property, meaning more than 4 units. You can do a cost segregation model, which is an aggressive way to depreciate the property. You can do a 1031 exchange, which defers your depreciation over to the next property. Or you can actually rolls over your profit from a sale into another property, and then you can keep on depreciating that way. You can do Section 179 depreciation. You can do bonus depreciation, which can be 200% or 50%, 200%. You can do 200% like initially, and then it gradually goes down. It's late, so I'm losing my thought. You can do there's 50% and 100% bonus depreciations as well that's available now, and most of that stuff is going to probably go away with Biden going into office. So I think 179 is going to go away. The 100% depreciation is going to go away. The 50% bonus depreciation is going to go away. So just consult your accountants before doing anything. Anyway, the point is there's lots of ways to depreciate property, but you have to make sure you're doing it accurately, because if you're not doing it right, you're going to get audited. Wow, there's a lot of questions on YouTube. All right, so Hugo says, what utilities should I pay as a landlord? Well, Hugo, as a landlord, you should try to avoid paying any utilities if possible. So if you can separate the water for each unit to pay their own water bill, that'd be great. Sometimes it's too expensive to separate it. So you have only one water bill and you pay it for both tenants. You kind of roll in that cost into the rent amount. But again, if you do have a duplex or a quadplex, it's better if you just have the tenant pay their own water bill. It just makes things easier. Own electric bill, own cable bill. Now, if you want to get creative, I actually had I have a 16 unit apartment building, as you know about. I actually ran cable for all 16 units at the complex and internet. So I actually pay the cable and internet about $350 for the property, and then I charge each tenant $100 for cable and internet. So I bring in $1,600 and it only costs me $350. So that's another way I make money. If you don't have the time and this is not your primary business, paying for utilities can be very time consuming and can become a lot of trouble. Because if a tenant has a leaky toilet and they're not paying the water bill, there's a good amount of them don't say anything to you. So you might be stuck with a very high water bill. But if they're paying the water bill and the toilet is leaking, then they're going to be calling you to say, hey, I need you to fix this toilet because I'm getting a higher water bill. So that's usually why it's better to have the tenant pay, because normally if they have to pay the bill, they're going to make sure to take care of it better. All right. All right. V says, hello, Pascal. Wish you more money in 2021. Wish me back. V, I wish you more money in 2021. But most of all, I wish you happiness and health, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, buddy. If you're not happy and you're not healthy, it doesn't mean much. Pascal, do you own company stocks? Yes, I own GOLD. It's a mining company. They mine gold. And I own that company stock. I own one other company as well. It's a Coda, CODA, I think it is. It's a very, it's a very small company. They do 3D sonar. So if things go right and they get the contracts they're expecting, the stock should blow up. If it doesn't, then it ain't really going anywhere. So I have some of that stock as well. George says, what I meant was not why he collects the money and depreciates, but why he collects the management income. An example, just so I'm not confusing you, would be, let's say he is collecting $1 million in rent net, and he gets $200K in management fees. Why pay the taxes on the $200K when he can have the whole thing depreciated and pay no taxes on them? He will get the rent regardless. Why bother with the management fees? One, George, you're separating your liability, because the management company is going to be able to separate the liability from the owner of the asset. So now it's separate. The owner owns the building, the management company operates the business. They're separating liability. Two, the management company has employees that are managing many different properties. How are you going to assess how are you going to assess how much, let's say Tina is the manager. How are you going to assess Tina's $50,000 salary to every single property? You can't. Now, if each property pays in a percent to the management company, and then the management company pays Tina, that works. The next reason, you can depreciate a lot more through your management company. So the management company is going to be able to write off a lot of things. So he might be writing off a car on every single one of his rental properties, the LLCs that own each property, and then he might be writing off a car on the management company, and writing off business trips and writing off certain things and meals and so on. So you could probably write off a lot of things through the management company. There's certain things you're going to write off as an 1120S LLC, and there's certain things you're going to write off as a 1065 investment portfolio. So your accountant is going to help you create that strategy to reduce your overall tax bill. Now, again, there's thousands of reasons why, but those are simply a few of the major ones. All right. What about, so V says, what about Bitcoin? Do you invest in Bitcoin? I do have some crypto. I don't have any Bitcoin right now. George, I think he is outsourcing the work. He just collects the fees. Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Pascal. I just couldn't see it without the knowledge you have. The thing is, you're not gonna, that's why you have to have an advisor, right? Like, I learned all these different things. Someone came to me and they're actually a big Bitcoin investor. I mean, they have like millions of dollars in Bitcoin, but they want to start investing in real estate. And I'm showing them around and I'm explaining to them the financial aspect of real estate investing and the property management aspect and the construction aspect and all of these different sides of the business and insurance and structures. And he's like, how am I going to learn all the stuff that you know? And I was like, honestly, you're not. You're not. I have 21 years of experience of doing this full time in multiple aspects. You're not going to learn what I know in 2 years. That's why, one, I say you constantly need to watch these videos so you can start absorbing this information. But you don't need to know. You don't have to do the construction yourself. You don't have to do the property management yourself. You don't have to do these parts. That's why I have the accounting firm to help people do the taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll for their companies, plan and strategize how they should create these different structures so they can save money on taxes, limit their liability, get insurance policies properly for each property. You have to have the right insurance for each property, for each entity. So you need an expert to help you with each part that you can partner with. And a lot of times you're going to get the insurance expert when you pay for the insurance policy. Well, hopefully they're good. Not everyone's created equal, so you have to make sure who you're vetting, who you're working with. If you don't have a real estate specific accountant doing your taxes and preparation and planning your structure, then you're not going to grow. So a lot of people I'm talking to, they're like, oh yeah, my accountant helped me and I have 2 properties now. But you've been doing it for 10 years. So why do you only have 2 properties? Now they did a good job, but that's not their specialty. Real estate investment is not their specialty. They're not going to be able to advise you properly. How many properties do they have? Oh, they don't have any. So how are they supposed to explain to you how to run a business that they don't have any experience in? So you have to have the proper advisor helping you. Otherwise, you're asking someone that doesn't know what they're doing to tell you how to do your job. It doesn't work. You have to get the right advisors to help you move forward. All right. George said, which sectors of real estate do you think they will suffer most now in metropolitan cities like New York, Chicago, LA? Office buildings are going to suffer. They're going to come back, but they're going to suffer. Rental properties, rental real estate, they're not required to pay their rent back. In Washington, D.C., they have a rent forbearance until the end of 2021. That means it's another 12 months from now. It's, anywhere that people don't have to pay their money is going to suffer. Restaurants are going to suffer. Commercial real estate is going to suffer. Anywhere that's been shut down. All right. What is better, HELOC or cash out refi? So it depends on your scenario. Most of the time, the structure works like this, or the strategy works like this. Step 1, do a cash out refi. Get as much money as possible. But if you don't have a lot of equity to pull out, say you're only going to get 5% on a cash out refi compared to a rate and term refi, 5% more. Well, is it worth you getting for $10,000, you're spending an additional $3,000 in fees? It's probably not. It's 30%. So instead of doing a cash out refi, in that scenario, it's not worth getting an additional $10,000 out to pay $3,000 in, to pay $3,000 in fees to get $10,000 out. Now, if you were going to get out $80,000, then yeah, it's the additional fees to go from a rate and term refi to a cash out refi. If you guys don't know this, when you're doing a rate and term refi, means you're refinancing the property, you're rolling in all the closing costs, so there's no money out of your pocket to do the refinance. Those fees are less than when you do a cash out refinance. So whenever you're taking cash out over $2,000, it is then considered a cash out refi, and the fees are higher. If you're not getting a lot of cash, then it doesn't make sense to pay those fees. Now, there's not a black and white answer. I actually have to run the data to be able to give you what is the best for your scenario. But normally, if you're only getting $10,000 and it costs you $3,000 more in fees, it's not worth paying 30%. In that scenario, we would do a rate and term refinance, lower your payments, lock in a lower interest rate, then get a home equity line of credit for the remaining amount of money. That's how I would do it in that scenario. Black Butterfly said, do you own property outside of Florida? Is it difficult to start a property management company? Is it expensive to have someone else managing a property for you? A good property manager pays for themselves, so it's not expensive. A good property manager pays for themselves. You're not paying them. Meaning the decisions that they make save you so much money that they're getting to keep some of the money that's being saved. You don't open a property management company unless you have a lot of properties. It usually doesn't make sense. So you can't own your own property manager managing out-of-state properties. No, it doesn't work like that. My properties are local, so it's easier for me to manage them here. Now, if I hired someone in Texas to work for me as a property manager because I bought a 50-unit apartment building, then that would make sense. And even in that scenario, it's hard to justify a property manager under, say, 65 units. That was the old statistic. So let's just say about 100-unit apartment building, and then I had a property manager work for me in Texas. Then I can open up a management company. Otherwise, if you're just buying a 4-unit, you're going to hire a property manager in the area to manage it for you. Is it difficult to buy property out of state? No, it's not. Do I own any property out of state? I don't. The reason why is my market is very good. It's a very good market. So there's not a reason for me to go out of state. Now, again, if I was in New York, New Jersey, LA, Chicago, Washington State, Washington, DC, in a very expensive market where your cap rates are like in the 4s, I wouldn't be renting. I would probably be flipping property and then do buy and holds out of state. Why not start an HOA with 100 units? Why would I start an HOA? I own the 100 units. Think about that. Why would you have an HOA? You own the 100 units. It doesn't make any sense. Like, now, if you're building a 100-unit condominium complex and you're selling each condominium, then you have an HOA because those other owners are going to pay you money to make sure the roof's covered, the asphalt is being taken care of, the property is being maintained, stuff like that. But you don't have an HOA if you own the property yourself. What type of financing did you use on the 16-unit? So the type of financing I used on a 16-unit was a purchase and rental loan. So we purchased the property and we set an estimated amount for the remodel budget. So I'm going to give you example numbers, not the actual numbers. We make it simple. I purchased property for $1 million and I had a reno budget of $800,000. That's $1.8 million. So I would then put down 25% of both. So it would come up with roughly $450,000 of the down payment plus closing costs. I then remodel the property, get it stabilized. I got a good interest rate for that. I got 5.75% for that property. It was 5 years fixed with an additional 5-year extension afterwards, amortized over 25 years. It was a very good loan. Once it's stabilized, it's finished, it's fully rented. I then can refinance the property into another 5 plus 5, amortized over 25 at a 4% interest rate. And if I can get agency debt, I can get to like a 3.5 interest rate amortized over 30 years, 10-year fixed. So, that is how I'm financing the 16 units. So if you guys actually know understand what I'm saying, because again, it takes a while to really grip everything I'm saying, you'd be able to see like, wow, he got a pretty good deal there. And I was fortunate enough to get a pretty good deal. When you get established in the business, you're going to get better and better financing options, because the people that are offering you the money to borrow, they know you're going to be good for the money and you're going to pay them back. So interest. If they don't know you and you're new to the game, they're going to charge you more interest, because what if you default? They need to take more interest for the risk. Best way to approach tenants about raising rents. Normally we send them a notice that the rent's going up, and we just let them know expenses have gone up. And you just let them know every year everything gets more expensive. And normally they're just like, oh. Now again, you can't raise the rent more than what the market justifies. Then people are going to leave. So you have to be cautious and considerate. All right, well, I can't raise it more than say $50 because then I'm going to be over market value, or my property's not nice enough for that. So just keep in mind a standard 3% inflation should be fine. Unless your property is in bad condition, then you might not be able to justify that. I don't understand a word you said. Laugh out loud. So Ivan, a lot of things I talked about, you have to study it again and again. Like this video, parts of it's going to get chopped up and put up on YouTube. Watch it again and again. It's going to make sense. All right. If I paid cash for my rental property, should I refinance, or what do you recommend? Yes, the biggest benefit of owning real estate is the leverage you can get at very low interest rates. And it's not only like in the stock market, you can get leverage to buy stocks and do options. If the stock you bought falls too much in value, the trading platform can force you to sell your stock to repay them, and then you would still owe them any leftover money. It's called leveraging your bet. One of the biggest benefits of real estate is that you can leverage your bet. But with this loan, if the property value falls, they don't call your loan. If you get a conventional loan, they don't call your loan if your property value falls. So the biggest point is making sure you have the proper cash flow for your loan. Because even when my property values plummeted in 08, 09, 10, it didn't matter, because my cash flow was still the same. And the cash flow was enough to cover all my bills. So then eventually the property's values came back up. And then I was positive again. I had positive equity. But when there was negative equity, no one called my loan. When it was negative equity, I didn't have any issues. I still was collecting the same, still collecting money. Now, obviously the market was bad, so I was collecting less money because people weren't paying their rent. But you understand what I'm saying. The benefit of real estate investing is leverage at low interest rates, and that's normally not callable. Now, David Ramsey, why he doesn't like debt is because he made bad decisions. David Ramsey got short-term loans on long-term investments. That's 101 of you do not do that, right? You do not get short-term loans for long-term investments. And then he had his loans called on him. So even though he had equity, he couldn't come up with the cash to pay off the loans, so they took the properties from him. And then he had a spiral effect of losing everything. Now, I don't encourage you getting lots of car loans and boat loans and all those loans. Yeah, I agree with him on the sense of don't have loans for toys. Don't have credit card debt. But you should have loans for real estate. That's just how the game's played. But if you're going to play the game, play it right. So don't make bad decisions either. Get proper advisors to help you make smart decisions. But those are my recommendations. All right, guys. I'd like to relax a little bit before New Year's Eve. As I mentioned, we're going to be offering a New Year's special. My course is going to be on sale for $397. Get it. It's all the information that had me go from no properties at 19 to 23 units by the age of 23. The point of this course is to educate you, to have you learn, and for you to grow financially and buy more properties and be successful. When you buy my course and then are ready to buy your first property or second property or third or refinance, contact me. We'll do your purchase or refinance and we'll credit you back the cost of your course. If you guys are thinking about doing a refinance or a purchase now, feel free to DM me. I will help you with the purchase or refinance. And then I will give you the course for free so you can learn, grow, become stronger financially, and go out there and get more properties. And lastly, for anyone that just wants to learn but doesn't want to invest themselves and rather just be part of an investment group, we are going to be opening up an investment group in the future. DM me and let me know what you're interested in investing in, and you can be part of our investment group. Well, I hope you guys have a blessed new year, and I'll see you guys next time.